a small coastal village where the sea met the sky in a brilliant tapestry of blue, there lived a fisherman named Jacob. Known for his skill and knowledge of the waters, Jacob was respected by his peers and admired by the villagers for his ability to catch the finest fish. However, he was also known for a peculiar quirk. He never seemed concerned about the number of fish he caught. One bright morning, a young man named George approached Jacob as he prepared his boat for the day's fishing. George was new to the village and eager to learn the ways of fishing. "Jacob," he said, "I want to be as successful as you are. What's your secret? How do you catch so many fish?" Jacob paused, looking out at the calm sea. "Ah, young George, it's not about how many fish I catch. It's about how I fish. Would you like to join me today and see for yourself?" George nodded eagerly, his heart racing with excitement. As they set off on the water, George felt a surge of ambition. He was determined to catch as many fish as possible and prove his worth. As they drifted into deeper waters, Jacob began to cast his net with practiced ease. George watched closely, trying to mimic his every move. After a while, Jacob pulled in a fine catch, while George struggled with his own net, which seemed to catch nothing but seaweed. "Why isn't this working?" George exclaimed, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I'm doing everything you do," Jacob smiled calmly. "Patience, George. The sea has its own rhythm. Let's enjoy the process of fishing rather than focusing solely on the results." George frowned, still fixated on the empty net in his hands. He couldn't shake the feeling of competition. He wanted to catch as many fish as Jacob did. "But if I don't catch anything, how will I prove I'm a good fisherman?" Jacob chuckled softly. A good fisherman understands that the art of fishing is not just in catching but in being present with nature. Focus on the experience, not just the outcome. Despite Jacob's words, George couldn't shake his anxiety. He spent the next few hours pulling and tugging at his net, but it remained frustratingly empty. Jacob, however, seemed unbothered, chatting with the seagulls and enjoying the gentle waves. Finally, after several hours, George had caught only a single small fish, while Jacob's boat brimmed with a variety of colorful catches. Angry and embarrassed, George threw down his net in frustration. "What's the point of all this if I can't catch anything?" Jacob looked at George, his expression kind but firm. "Let me tell you a story." George crossed his arms, intrigued yet skeptical. "A story? Yes," Jacob replied. "A long time ago, I was much like you, focused only on the results. I believed that the more fish I caught, the better I was. But one day, a great storm struck while I was out at sea. I lost everything, my boat, my nets, and all the fish I had caught that day. I returned to shore empty-handed, feeling like a failure." George's curiosity piqued. "What did you do?" "I took time to reflect on my loss. I realized that I had been so focused on the number of fish I caught that I had forgotten to appreciate the beauty around me. The gentle sway of the boat, the salty breeze, the song of the waves. It was in that moment of reflection that I understood. Fishing was more than just catching fish. It was a way to connect with nature and with myself." George listened intently, beginning to see the wisdom in Jacob's words. "So what changed for you?" "I began to embrace the process of fishing rather than fixating on the outcome. I learned to appreciate the small moments, the quiet dawns, the vibrant sunsets, and the thrill of simply being on the water. As I did, I found that I caught more fish than ever before, not because I was trying harder, but because I was more relaxed and in tune with the sea." George thought for a moment. "So, you're saying that focusing too much on results can actually hinder success?" "Exactly," Jacob replied. "When we let go of the pressure to perform, we free ourselves to truly experience the journey. That's when the best results often come." Feeling a sense of clarity, George looked out at the horizon. "I think I understand now. I've been so wrapped up in wanting to prove myself that I forgot to enjoy being here." With a newfound sense of purpose, George decided to change his approach. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and felt the gentle rocking of the boat. He listened to the soft lapping of the waves and the distant calls of seabirds. When he cast his net this time, he did so with a sense of calm and presence. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, George noticed that the pressure in his chest had lifted. He felt a connection with the water, the wind, and the life beneath the surface. When he pulled in his net again, he found it heavy with fish. "Look," he exclaimed, his face lighting up with surprise and joy. "I caught something," Jacob beamed. "You see, when you focused on the experience instead of the results, everything changed." George smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment that went beyond just the catch of fish. He realized that the joy of fishing lay in the entire experience, the lessons learned, the beauty of nature, and the bond formed with Jacob. As they made their way back to shore, George felt grateful for the day's journey. He understood now that life was much like fishing. It was not merely about the end results, but about the moments that shaped the journey along the way. When they reached the dock, George helped Jacob unload the fish. Villagers gathered around to admire Jacob's haul, and George felt a sense of pride, not just in his own catch, but in the lessons he had learned. "Thank you, Jacob," George said, a sincere smile on his face. "I will carry this lesson with me always." It's about enjoying the journey, not just chasing the results. Jacob nodded, pleased. "Remember, George, every moment is an opportunity to learn and grow. Cherish the process and the results will take care of themselves." In our life, we need to understand that success is not solely measured by the results we achieve, but by the experiences we gather along the way. When we obsess over outcomes, we may miss the valuable experiences and lessons that the journey offers. Focusing too heavily on results can create pressure and anxiety, often leading to frustration and disappointment. When we focus on the journey rather than just the outcomes, we open ourselves to joy, growth, and connection. By shifting your focus from results to the process, you open yourself to a richer experience that embraces learning, creativity, and resilience. Embrace each moment, learn from every step, and let go of the pressure to perform. In doing so, we find fulfillment and happiness beyond mere accomplishments.